Hi everybody, Scott McKinley here with TBT Coaching and Universal Business Builders, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time and share with you one of the most common situations that I run into as a business coach with small business owners, regular sized business owners, large business owners. So many people are dealing with paradigms in their lives that are affecting how they operate and run their business, how they operate relationships. So we wanted to spend a little bit of time today talking about paradigms and introducing some of the tools that we use as coaches to help our clients to shift from the limiting beliefs that they have and the bad habits that they've become slaves to throughout their life, and teach them how to apply it to their practice. We are going to take you through 3 steps of shifting from these paradigms and want to teach you how to begin that process today. But to help you understand exactly how these paradigms come into our lives, I wanted to share a story that I read from The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. He tells a story in this book about being a student at Harvard Business School. And one day when he was in one of his lectures, the professor stood up and he handed a picture to one side of the room, gave this picture to the left side and said, I want you to study this picture because in a moment I'm going to have you stand up and I would like you to describe what you see in the picture. So this is the image that he gave to one side of the room, and this is the image that he gave to the second side of the room. Now, I'm sure you've probably seen this image before, which is the main image that he focused on when he brought the image back up onto the screen for everybody to see. He had the people that had got this picture stand up and said, I'd like you to describe exactly what you see in this image. Well, this picture, if you can pay attention, you can see that this is leaning a little bit more in the direction of the younger woman in this image. The other side of the room, who had this image, they're being a little bit more influenced by the image of the older woman in the picture. Now, again, this is the main picture. So when everybody stood up and he had the 2 representatives from both sides of the room identify what they saw in the picture, it was natural that the people who saw the first image were identifying a younger looking woman. Well, I can see that there's a lady that's looking away from the camera. She's got dark hair. You can see her eyelashes. You can see a tiny little nose. And the people that were given the second image are going, wait a minute, that's not right at all. We see an old lady, because remember, this is the image that they saw, a little bit more influenced heavily in the direction of the older looking woman. So naturally they stood up and they said, no, what are you talking about? This lady doesn't have a small nose. She's got a big nose, and she's got tight lips, and she's got a long chin. The purpose of this exercise was to demonstrate that we as people, we develop certain thoughts and beliefs about subjects, situations, circumstances in our life, and those circumstances and those beliefs, they're affected, and we create these paradigms that kind of govern us as we get older and older. Now, what is a paradigm? It's a Greek word meaning to show side by side. Scientifically, it's used as a model or a theory. More modern perception, assumption, or frame of reference, it's a source of our attitudes and behaviors. That's really the one that we as coaches see quite often. Paradigms are sources of our attitudes and behaviors. These paradigms that we have, they create the lens through which we are seeing the world. And we pick them up normally from our family and our friends, the people that we're influenced by. Much like the students at Harvard Business School were influenced by the particular image that they were given, we develop these paradigms that affect us for the rest of our lives as little children. We're not born into this world with these thoughts and these limiting beliefs. We pick those up by watching the people that we're around the most when we're at that young, impressionable age. What are some examples of some paradigms? Well, I can't ask you for examples because this is a recording, but I can share some of the examples that I've had in my life with paradigms that have affected me. And as a coach, I've had to learn to identify the things that have kept me from the success that I've been looking for by taking a look at some of the paradigms that I've had. So what are some of the paradigms in my life? The first one, man, who can relate to this? That life is just meant to be a struggle. It's not easy. The second one is good things don't happen to me. I see good things happening to other people all the time, but good things aren't necessarily happening for me in my life. I work hard, but money is always a burden. Now, I love my parents, bless their hearts. My dad worked, my mom worked, but money was always a burden. And that was communicated to us as little kids growing up. My birthday was always in September, never changed. It's always September 24th. And I remember as a little kid being told that housing taxes, property taxes were always due in September. And so my birthday was going to be a little bit lighter because of that. So for me, from a young age, I was always believing that money was an issue in our life. So that affected me as an adult. Another one, a paradigm that I kind of brought on myself. When my wife and I got married, we wanted to take the kids to Disneyland and go on vacations, but we could never afford to do that because they were expensive. I share these things because as a coach that focuses on the mindset, we have a saying that the story you tell is the life you live. Now I want you to look at these paradigms that I've got listed up here, and I want you to ask yourself, how many of these concepts can I relate to? How many of these thoughts have I shared or said to myself in my head, in my subconscious mind, whispering to me, you're not meant to be successful. You're supposed to struggle. Life isn't supposed to be easy. Money doesn't come easy to you. These beliefs, these paradigms that we develop, they came from a certain little thought, and usually once we identify what those thoughts were, we can disconnect our emotion to those circumstances, and we can move forward with the success that we're looking for. A couple other ones that I had, relationships are difficult. And it's hard making and keeping friends. This was something that I used to tell myself over and over and over. And for anybody that knows me, the big one, I'm a big Pearl Jam fan, and I never joined the Pearl Jam 10 Club, the membership for the fans. I didn't join it in 1991 when I was a senior in high school. I waited until 2006. So my membership in the 10 Club, this fan club for the band, is so high, and every time I would go to a concert, my tickets would be based off of my seniority. And so I never got to see Pearl Jam front row. And I got tired of that. And I got tired of telling myself that over and over and over, much like a lot of these other paradigms. Now, let's wipe the board and let's focus on some of the paradigms that business owners are saying to themselves. This is stuff that I've heard since I started coaching back in 2007. These are very common thoughts and paradigms that business owners are saying out loud. I can't sell. I don't know how to sell. I'm not comfortable selling. No one wants to work with me. Have you ever said that to yourself? How about this one? I'm terrified of getting out and having to do public speaking. One of the strategies that many business owners rely on to do marketing is to join networking groups such as BNI or LaTip or participating at the Chamber of Commerce. Well, if you've got a paradigm that tells you that you are not good at public speaking, what good is it going to do you to be going to these events and being terrified the whole time that you're at this meeting? It's going to affect your energy. It's going to affect the way that you're engaging with other people. So obviously, these don't serve us. It's our responsibility to figure out what the story is that we're telling ourselves based on the paradigms that we've picked up through our life and eliminate those things. Now, I've worked a lot with small business owners that were in the accounting and the tax industry. And bookkeeping is just another expense. It's a very common thing that bookkeepers say to each other, or say to themselves, I should say. Bookkeepers are boring. How many accountants do you know that identify with this, that say, I'm just an introvert, I'm just a boring accountant? If you want to shift from that paradigm, the first thing that you have to do is stop saying these things to yourself. Now, there's a formula that we're going to introduce here in a moment that's going to help us to take this contrast, because this is good stuff, actually. You shouldn't be afraid of the contrast, because the contrast can help you to really figure out what you want. But what we've got to do is we've got to flip them and turn them into something more productive. Now, one of the tools that we use at Universal Business Builder is a program called Value Builder. You can actually get a different perspective of your business by taking a very simple 15-20 minute questionnaire about the things that are happening on different aspects of your business. And what the Value Builder program will do is it will identify areas in your business that you need to be mindful of, those silent killers that you really weren't aware of, and those things that are taking away the value for your business. Now, paradigms reflect very well in the Value Builder program. We're able to see some of the things that stand out that might be sabotaging you as a business owner. For example, this statement right here, the first one, no one can do this better than me. I just had a coaching session earlier this week with a business owner that is wanting to grow the business, but is struggling with giving away those responsibilities that he's known for so long, because he has this belief that nobody can do this better than me. That's going to affect his business in a negative way, because if an investor is looking to buy this particular business and they see that the business owner is the one that's having the communication with the customers and dealing with all of the suppliers and all of the vendors, that potential investor isn't going to want to spend as much money on that business, because they don't want to have to be the one doing that for the business. So the other one, I need to be the one speaking to the customers. I must be present 24/7 in my business. That's a strategy right there to sabotage your ability to enjoy the benefit of being a small business owner, to be able to decide when you're working, and to be able to leave early if you need to be leaving earlier, to be taking the time off. We started these businesses so we could enjoy a certain level of freedom, but yet so many small business owners fall into the owner's trap. And it's because of paradigms like this. If you're interested in taking this Value Builder questionnaire, click on the link below, and it's a free opportunity to get a different perspective of your business. All of these paradigms could be catastrophic for a business owner in their business. So it's important to realize that we can shift our thought. We can shift our belief about how we see the business. Because the good news is, a belief is just a thought. It's just something that popped into our mind and started to gain momentum. I've heard it said before that when a thought enters your mind, you have 17 seconds to shift that thought, maybe pick up a different focus about that thought, and I'll explain how to do that here in just a moment. But you have 17 seconds before that little tiny thought starts to get momentum and starts to become a dominant thought. And we need to be careful of those dominant thoughts. I like to use this analogy. Think of a kite string. Okay, remember the kite string that we used to have on those cheap kites growing up as kids? That really thin kite string? Well, if you had your wrists placed together and we wrapped just one little string of kite string around your wrist, how easy would it be for you to break from that binding? Pretty simple. But if we wrapped it around a second time, it starts to become more difficult. It could still be done. A third time, okay, now we're starting to cut into our skin as we're having to pull because it's built up so strong. And the more that string gets wrapped around our wrist, we're bound by that. And that's what happens with our thoughts. Our thoughts become dominant when we give them the wrong focus and the wrong attention. Too much focus and too much attention. We have the ability to control our thoughts. That's one of the breakthroughs that a lot of our clients realize, is that we are not our thoughts. We are not our habits. We can change our thoughts. Napoleon Hill talks about this in the book Think and Grow Rich. And he says that we have to be careful because both constructive thoughts and destructive thoughts are important. They matter. Whichever one becomes our dominant thought, constructive or productive, that's what starts to attract people and forces and circumstances into our life. If we're attracting negative people and negative forces, we need to shift from whatever it is that's causing us to attract those things into our life. So how do we shift? What do we do to get from this point where we're being controlled by these paradigms in our life that are no longer serving us? Maybe at one point they did, maybe when we were younger, they were important, but now they're not helping us, especially as business owners. They're sabotaging us and they're keeping us from where we want to go. I said a little earlier that those negative thoughts, they actually do serve a purpose, and there's really no reason to be afraid of contrast. There's been many books that have been written about our thoughts and the ability that we have by using our thoughts the right way to attract and to manifest things into our lives. Now, I'm not just saying that there's just magic thing that's going to happen, but what takes place when we realize that we can think and grow rich and that we've got the ability to use those thoughts to make things happen in our life, that gives us focus. And then if we have focus, we can start taking deliberate action. Michael Loge talks about the importance of taking the contrast in our life and turning it into clarity in his book, The Law of Attraction. So what we have to think is, what area of our life do we want to focus on and apply these new principles that we've learned from all of these books? And if you haven't read any of these books, I would suggest by starting very simply with Think and Grow Rich, and then jumping over to Michael Loge's book about the Law of Attraction, because he really simplifies the process of turning those thoughts into things. Napoleon talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. Other books have been written in between. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of books about the power of our thoughts that are out there. These are ones that I've found as a coach to be very easy to get the points across to the clients that I've worked with. So, what area do we want to focus on? You're watching this video right now, so I'd imagine finances is important to you in your business. You can focus these things on your health. You can focus on relationships, your employees. Maybe you keep attracting the wrong type of employee. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when a certain type of person is in your life, then they go away, and then another person just kind of steps right back into that spot and fills that vacancy? It's because we're focusing still on the wrong thing when it comes to any of these subjects. So what we want to do, customer is another good one that you can be focused on, and business. I'd like to focus on your business and some of the areas that we can make improvements on. Now, Michael Loge calls this clarity through contrast. There have been many other authors that have written about using this very simple tool to gain clarity. Jack Canfield calls it want, don't want. We like to say can't stand, must have. So the formula that we use is we pick the area that we want to improve upon. Then we list everything in that area that is the contrast, the things that we can't stand. Now, I'm a certified law of attraction practitioner. Most of the time, I'm telling my clients, don't focus on the negative. But in this situation, it's actually going to be very beneficial. So we want to list all of the things when it comes to the aspect of, let's say, our business that we can't stand. And we really want to be specific. When I say be specific, I'm not saying 3 or 4 things. Be as specific as possible. List 20, 25 things. The more specific you can be, the better the clarity is going to be, which will then give you the focus and then the deliberate action that needs to take place in your business for you to start to achieve the success that you're looking for. List as many things that you can think of. So when it comes to the business, these are some of the most common things that I've heard from business owners in the coaching sessions that I've done with them. Where are all the clients? I don't know where the clients are. I'm looking, I'm working so hard, I can't seem to find the clients. This one right here, I'm petrified of going out and having to make presentations. I've never had to make presentations before. I've never had to make sales. I've been an employee and I've never run a business. So I don't know the first thing about having to go out and make sales. And then this one, big one. I don't have any money. We're broke. We don't have the money that we need. We're not getting the cash flow that we need to come in and run our business. So we want to take these things, we want to focus on them, And then we want to turn them into what the must-haves are. So the second step in this is next to each one of the contrast, you want to write down what you must have. See, if I said to you, I want you to tell me everything that you need to have in your business to be successful, you might be able to give me half a dozen to a dozen things. That's great. But if I said, tell me all of the things that you're worried about happening in your business, that's when most people can start making lists, 20, 30, 40 items long. And that's good stuff. Because then, once we have that list of all that fear and all the things that we're worried about happening, we can write next to each one of them, okay, so let's just say, for example, I'm worried about not being able to find clients. Should that get our focus? Should that get our attention and our energy? Napoleon says in Think and Grow Rich, whatever the dominant thought is what's going to attract the people and the forces and the circumstances into our life, into our vibration. So we don't want to be focused on not finding clients. What we must have is, I need to find clients. I want to get out and I want to meet the right type of client. Now, that might deserve its own list on its own. What is your ideal client? Who does that look like? Well, you might be able to give us a couple of things, but you could probably tell us all of the things that it's not. So you could do a can't stand must have list on what your clients should look like. So you can make sure that with laser precision, you are attracting the right type of people into your vibration, into your business. So be specific again. We don't want to have any room for question. We want to know exactly what it is that we're looking for. And this is the big one. You want to avoid using any negative words or any negative thoughts. So an example of this is, I don't know how to find clients. So if you put anything negative in there, like I want to be able to not struggle with finding clients, do you see how that's negative? The focus is struggling to find clients. We want to make this as positive as possible. So in this situation, instead of saying, where are all the clients, our focus needs to be, I find clients seamlessly. There are plenty of clients that are out there that need my services. I want to attract those people who are ready for my services. Instead of maybe focusing on being afraid to go out and speak to the market, what do we want? I want to have confidence. I want to be able to go out there and meet with potential clients and have the confidence to say the right thing. Now, do you see how the deliberate action will start to take place because we now have focus? We're not focusing on being afraid. If we focus on being afraid, that affects our energy. That affects what we do. I had a client that I was working with who had been attending a networking meeting. He'd been going to a BNI for about 6 months, and he didn't have any clients to show for it. And I finally said, Tony, let me ask you a question. When you're there, when you're at BNI, what are the thoughts that you're having? And he said, I'm thinking this sucks. I'm thinking nobody comes and talks to me. I'm thinking I don't know what to say to people to get them interested in my services. I said, well, I understand now. I understand why you're not getting the results that you're looking for because your focus is on the negative. What do you want to have happen? He said, well, I want to get clients. I want to have confidence. I want to have money in my business. I said, that's what we need to be focused on. We need to be focused on the must-haves, the wants, the clarities. Now, I've got Roger connected, the president of Universal Business Builders, Universal Accounting. Roger, when it comes to sales, what are some of the things that you're seeing people are struggling with?
One of the things is you're going into a networking opportunity. Let's say, for example, you're at a social event, a chamber meeting, and you're seeing business owners, you're talking to them, you realize that what your services are ones that they can benefit from, but they're basically not recognizing your worth. They're not seeing that there's a need to connect. They're not seeing the need to meet. So here you are, you're in the cusp of these people. You see them and you're excited to meet with them, but oftentimes what it is it's this I think wall that somehow you're propelling them away when in reality they should be inviting to us. And so that's a frustration. The second frustration is you've got people that have expressed interest. Hey, I'd love to speak with you. It sounds like something we should discuss, something something that we ought to be doing. It sounds like something I ought to be doing. But then these business owners don't follow through as you're trying to reach out, make an appointment, speak with them. They seem to be evasive, and that's frustrating from a sales point of view, because here you are, you're trying to do sales, and the client that you believe can benefit from your product or service isn't getting back with you. And then the third one is, here you are, you're in a position where you're explaining your services, and the frustration is these people just don't see the value in what I have to offer. I'm explaining it, I'm excited about it, I'm passionate about what it is I do, but the potential client sitting there is maybe daydreaming, or they're not seeing how it applies to them, and you're seeing the potential, you're seeing the value that they're going to get, but it's just not resonating to the point that they're willing to say, okay, I'll pay you for your product or service. Those are, I think, can't stands. They're frustrations. You're going into or coming out of those conversations or situations frustrated, and you see the opportunity is so close, but yet it's elusive. So that's some of the common ones I see.
So people are not seeing your worth.
Mm-hmm.
People are not following through. They've expressed interest in the service, but then they're not following through, and they don't see your value.
Yeah, those are common ones that I oftentimes hear other business owners expressing, where they're excited to be in business, but they're not getting the interest or the sales that they're expecting. The marketing or the sales closing process isn't working.
So do you see how, if this is the focus from a business owner, when this happens at the first interaction, maybe a first meeting they go to,
yeah.
they meet people and they don't see their value, and they don't follow up, and they don't see really the worth of the service that you're offering that one time, then you come back to your office to make their calls and nobody's answering the calls, and that frustration starts to happen. What happens is that first string of kite string gets wrapped around your wrist, and you start having that focus in the wrong area.
It's a rabbit hole. What happens is it's almost like you self-condemn. You're now self-sabotaging. You're in this thing that is a spiral, where one thing is I think, because of the negative energy, you're focusing on things that in some ways justify or your point of view or frustration, and you just start to self-condemn, self-justify, and it's this rabbit hole.
And then what starts to happen is our actions now start to be influenced by these thoughts that we have, these negative thoughts. So maybe the next time now you're at a networking meeting, you are going into it with these ideas that people aren't going to see my value, people aren't going to see my worth, people aren't going to follow up with me. And so that changes your interaction with people.
Yeah, just to give you an example, when going to a networking meeting, rather than stepping in and arriving with the mindset of nobody here understands me, nobody here appreciates me, nobody sees the worth of what I have to offer, but rather look for the cues that say people are excited to see you, people are happy to have you there, people are appreciative of the services that you offer, and you'll listen and hear those, and they will be self-sustaining of the fact that you do have a product or service that's worth. It's what do you want to focus on?
So let's take these things. Your can't stand is people don't see your worth. So what must you have to be successful?
I think it's recognizing that when you go in, that people are talking to you, engaging with you, interested in you. That is a good first sign. Let's focus on the positive and recognize that as you're out there now networking and talking to people, people are interested. That's the first part of the whole sales process, is getting people to the point that they're willing to express interest in your product or service.
So what you want is for people to be engaged.
Yes,
engaged. And for people to see your worth.
Yes.
That's what you want.
Yes.
So that needs to be the focus.
Yes.
This needs to be what we're saying to ourselves. When I go to the networking meeting today, I want to meet the people who are going to see my worth and who are going to want to engage in a conversation with me about the service that I'm offering.
Yeah, and you're going to look for those social proofs as you're doing that.
You will. But I'm telling you, if you go into that networking meeting, people aren't going to see my worth. You will attract those people that are in harmony with not seeing your worth.
And you're there with that negative energy, that negative vibe. Nobody wants to approach you.
Except the people that aren't going to see your worth.
And the people who also want to complain.
Exactly. So the second one you said, express interest, but they don't follow through. So what you want are people who are engaged and are actively pursuing the opportunity, to work with you?
Yeah, so when you get people that respond to your text messages or return your voicemail messages or answer the phone, just answering the phone, these are the signs you're looking for to be the positives of people are engaging with me, people are responding, and you want to build off of that and actually use that as a self-affirming positive of things are actually moving forward.
Right. Okay, the last one was people don't see my value. We want people who recognize the value that we're bringing to the table.
Yeah, one of the things that I think helps with this is in the whole networking and sales side of things, if you go into it with the mentality of givers gain, I think as you start giving and you go out there with the intent of actually sharing of yourself and so forth, people will in turn come back and start to see the same for you, and they'll actually reciprocate that. So what I want to just point out is if you're going in and you are frustrated that you think people aren't seeing, understanding, or valuing what your product or service is, we want to get to a point where we are seeing those social cues or those comments that illustrate you are of value, you are important, they are needed, or your services are needed, and that's what you're going to resonate with.
Yeah. You know, as a coach that really focuses on the mindset, one of the things that we really work with our clients to help them understand is that there's different phases that we go through in the creation process, in manifesting things.
Yeah.
4 stages. Things are either happening to me, things are happening by me, things are happening through me, and then finally, things are happening as me.
I love these, by the way.
What I have found as a business coach is that when I first start working with a new client, the habit has been to me. We're a victim. We have this false sense of belief that other people are affecting what's happening in our business. It's us. It starts with the thought process and the question, what are you focusing on in your business? Are you focusing on what you want, or are you more focusing on your fears? Are you more focusing on the past? Fears are focusing on the future, which is something that unfortunately we just don't have control over. Looking back with regret, we're focusing on the past. We can't control any of that. The only thing we can control is right now. So this is the tool that we use to make sure our focus is in the right place.
So a few things that I'd like to just share, and then I'm going to step out again, is one, I love working with business owners because first and foremost, they're always passionate about what it is they do. That passion makes up for a lot of things. But the thing that I want to add to that energy that they're bringing that's so enthusiastic and contagious is when you work with business owners, one of the things that they sometimes don't understand or realize is that even though we can't predict the future, we can influence and control the future. If you want something to happen, what are you doing to make it happen? Rather than being, like you use the word victim, and having life impact us, what are we doing so that we can influence and affect life moving forward? Yes, there are a lot of variables in life, but if you go at it with a positive mental attitude, if you go at it deliberately and you have that passion for what it is you do, it's contagious and you can influence, and by influence, then basically dictate or change the future rather than sitting back and letting things happen to you. And so it's a powerful way of being in control of what's going on in your environment.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Thanks, Roger, for your help. That's one of the things that we find most with the clients that we work with is just that they don't realize how much influence they're having on the things that are happening in their business. It's all about focus. It's all about our energy behind the different things that are taking place in our business. Thoughts become things. Be mindful of your thoughts. Have that higher level of consciousness to be able to go through and realize that maybe some of the thoughts that we're having are coming based off of these paradigms that we've grown up with in our life. Are they right? Not necessarily. So this is a really good way to go through and to start to eliminate the negativity by using the negativity and then turning that into the positivity. So can't stand, very specific, then turn that into what your must-haves. Now that you have your must-haves, it's time to do what Roger said and take that action. Take that delivered action. When I know that I want to be speaking to all the people out there that are interested in my business, now my focus is different. I'm going to be out there specifically looking for one type of a client. And that might require you to do a list like this on past clients and what do you want in your new clients. I want clients that pay me on time. I want clients that, like Roger said, who value me and that are engaged and that are excited to work with me. I want clients that are ethical. I want clients that are going to allow me to serve them but still be able to benefit from that in my own business. Confidence. I don't want to be struggling with my confidence. I want confidence when I'm going out into the marketplace to talk to people about the service that I'm offering. So maybe what that's going to require for me to have confidence is to sharpen my saw. Maybe I need to go through and get some additional training. Are there resources available? Yes. So if they are, then don't worry. There's no reason to worry about it. That's the big thing that we see the most, is that people are addicted to overthinking and they're addicted to worrying. And all that does is that keeps you in the wrong energy. But when you've got a list like this, that I know how much money I want to have, I want to be attracting money. So how much money do I need? What are the type of clients that I need to bring that type of money in? How many clients should I be bringing in on a monthly basis to be able to be reaching those goals? See what starts to happen? We start getting the right focus. Now, the second step to shift from your paradigm is something that I took away from Michael Loget's book, in The Law of Attraction. It's called The Law of Attraction, the science of attracting more of what you want and less of what you don't. And he gives a really great explanation about one of the things that we can do to get out of that mindset in those habits that aren't serving us anymore, those paradigms. He suggests keeping a daily log of all of the sources from which you're receiving abundance. So for a lot of people, money is an issue. And they think, man, I'm broke, I'm struggling, I'm not making money, what's going on? And that focuses on the lack. It's a negative aspect of money. But if you start keeping a daily log of all the sources from which you're receiving an abundance, this will significantly help you in noticing abundance in your life. Keeping a daily log shows you concrete evidence that abundance does exist and is already present in your life. Celebrate it. So what do I mean by that? I mean, go out there and start tracking examples of money coming in everything that's happening in your life, in your health. Maybe you woke up feeling good in the morning. That's great. That's a sign that our health is improving, or there's abundance. We have our health. So I woke up feeling great today. I worked out for 30 minutes and I felt amazing. Or I ate a healthy breakfast and I ate a healthy lunch. These are all signs of abundance when it comes to your health. Now, the one that most people are looking at is finances, their money. When it comes to finances, that's where people really start to only notice the lack that's taking place. But if you're keeping a journal every day and you're tracking things such as, Andrew bought lunch today. Well, if Andrew brought lunch into the office, that meant I didn't have to spend my money on lunch. That's abundance. I know it seems kind of simple because it really is. It's a simple way to start going, I'm attracting money in all different forms. Jeff brought me a baby Ruth. That was $1.50 that I didn't have to spend to be able to enjoy a delicious baby Ruth candy bar. I earned a 30% spiff on my commissions. That's abundance. Taylor's flight to Los Angeles was $50 less than I had budgeted. That's $50. That's abundance for me that I didn't have to spend. Now, $50 might not be a huge amount, but these things start adding up. And when you're recording these things on a daily basis, what starts to happen is the shift starts to take place. You start seeing that, man, this paradigm that I've been telling myself for so long, that I don't have money, that I don't earn money easily, that I'm not making money from multiple sources. Believe it or not, when I first started reading this book, my big paradigms were in finances. And I remember writing down specifically in my can't stand that I don't make money easily and that money isn't coming from multiple sources. And that was something that I said I wanted to have happen. And then I started recording these things. And what's cool about this proof of abundance journal that you can start to record is that it starts off with simple little things like this: free lunch, free candy bar, then got a free cup of coffee at the airport, or somebody bought me lunch this afternoon. But then it turns into got 2 paid in full sales, found 2 new clients, went to a networking group, met a natural relationship that's going to be a golden goose. They're now sending clients my way on a regular basis. All of these things start to add up to help us unwind those thoughts that money doesn't come easily to me. When you've got a book of evidence proving that you're making money from all different sources, that paradigm can no longer be true. And this is the step that you take to make that shift start to happen. Another thing that you can do to really shift your paradigm comes from a book that was written by Rhonda Byrne, who's the lady who wrote The Secret, and it's called The Magic. The Magic is all about gratitude. That's what it focuses on. She says in the book that gratitude is riches and complaints are poverty. So my question is, if you're running a business and if you're struggling and if you're complaining out loud, maybe you're complaining just to yourself, maybe you're complaining to your spouse, maybe you're complaining to your business partner, maybe you're complaining to your employees, is that the right focus that we want to have? Doesn't mean that there isn't reasons to complain about things, but for everything there is to complain about, I'm willing to bet there's half a dozen to a dozen other things to be thankful for. And the book, The Magic, really emphasizes the importance of having gratitude in your business. It is a 28-day practice, and it focuses on every aspect of your life. What it causes you to do is it causes you to start writing in your journal. It causes you to start looking for so many different areas in your life where things are happening that you can be grateful for. And when you apply gratitude to your business, just like the book, that's when the magic starts to take place. I've seen this happen time and time again with the hundreds, the thousands of people that I've had the opportunity to coach and to instruct in this process of shifting from the negativity in their business. When you apply gratitude, amazing things starts to happen. When you apply gratitude and then have proof that there is abundance in your life, in your business, amazing things start to happen. When you're applying gratitude, you have proof that things are changing, and then you've got a list of laser precision with the focus of what you want in your business. That's when the real magic starts to take place. And that's when those paradigms that used to serve you no longer serve you, and now you're functioning on all the different cylinders. This is what we do at Universal Business Builder. This is how we help our clients to shift. We focus at the very beginning of the process on what the mindset is. Now, for some people, that's all they need. They just want the instructions. But for other people, they're set in their ways. And that is why we offer the level of coaching that we do at Universal Business Builder. If you are interested, if you would like to learn more, that's what we're here to help you understand. There's going to be an opportunity for you to be able to click on a link at the end of this video, to be able to get in touch with one of us, to be able to explain how we do the things that we do to let business owners start living the life of their dreams, to experience the success that sometimes they're so close to, but those old paradigms are still limiting them from being able to achieve that success. So, my own paradigms and beliefs, the ones that I focused on, the big one, Pearl Jam. I decided when I was testing these principles from Michael Lozier's book about the law of attraction, I decided, you know what? I'm going to stop telling myself this story that I never get to see Pearl Jam front row. Because every time I'd go to a Pearl Jam concert, this is their 20th anniversary concert. That's the stage right there. Obviously, you can see where I'm at taking the picture. This is their show at Wrigley Field. I'm underneath the first base bleachers out there. Every time I'd go to a concert, I'd see all the people in the front row, and I'd go, man, those lucky, how do I get to be up front? Well, what I found was stop telling the story about not being up in the front. Stop telling that story about the paradigm that I didn't turn in the money in 1991, the $5 to be in the 10 club, to be in the fan club. Stop telling that story and start focusing on what you want. And so what I did was I found a picture of a Pearl Jam concert, and I drew an arrow of these guys standing right in front of the lead guitar player, Mike McCready. And I wrote in big permanent marker, "You." And I put that on a vision board that I had created. I decided I wasn't going to allow that paradigm to be my truth anymore. Now, because of that, I had to now take different action. I knew what I wanted. And in 2013, Pearl Jam announced in their North America tour, they were no longer going to be giving tickets based on seniority in the front. They were going to have a general admission section. And as long as you had a membership in the fan club, you could put your name in a lottery to be in that general admission pit. So of course, because my focus had been being at a Pearl Jam concert front row, when that happened, I put my name for a bunch of different shows. My friend put his name in for a bunch of different shows. And guess what? Our names got drawn to be in that GA section. But that didn't guarantee that we were going to be in the front row. We had to take deliberate action based on our new focus of being front row. And so what that meant was we had to get up at the crack of dawn and go wait in line to be in the front row, because our focus was being in the front row. And this is me. This is the lead singer of Pearl Jam. We shook hands that day. But in 2013, my paradigm changed. I shifted. I was no longer the guy that was at the back of the concert venue. This is my best friend and I standing directly in front of the lead singer, or the lead guitar player for Pearl Jam. Exactly what I had put on my vision board. Now, it didn't magically happen. I didn't wake up one morning and I'm standing right in front of Mike McCready. I had to take deliberate action. And that's why we teach this principle to our students. You have to take deliberate action based on your focus. And when that happens, amazing things start to take place. These are all images of me at Pearl Jam concerts in the front row. Because I stopped telling that story of struggle and I started telling the story of what I wanted instead of the can't stands. It's gotten to the point now that when I go to Pearl Jam shows, the lead singer of the band actually, not the lead singer, I keep saying lead singer. I wish Eddie Vedder was recognizing me. But Mike McCready, the guitar player, actually recognizes me and calls me out when he sees me. This was me at a little venue up in Seattle where he pointed to me and said, "Hey," and recognized me. And it blew my mind. I'm telling you, if you can apply the right energy and the right focus into your business, you can make amazing things happen. That's what we do. What is the story that you're telling about your business? If you're tired of telling the story of struggle, click on the link, give us a call, and we'd love to talk to you more about how we can help you start to live this amazing, abundant life in your business. It's possible. We've seen it happen. You've just got to stop letting those old paradigms sabotage you and keep you from the success of what you want to have. You can either have faraway seats or you can be front row. You can have the clients that are not seeing your value and not seeing your worth, or you can have the clients that recognize the value, who want to work with you, who are out there. You know they're out there. It's just getting the focus to attract them into your vibration. And that's what we specialize in. So, what have we learned today? First off, paradigms are just beliefs, and beliefs are just thoughts that just get too much energy and too much focus. We pick those paradigms up based on beliefs of people who influenced us as children. It's important for us to evolve, to be able to sharpen the saw, get continuing education, do the things that you need to do to gain that confidence so you can be better at your craft, better at the services or the products that you're offering to people. The 3 steps to evolving: get clarity, have focus on what it is you really want, keep proof of the shift that's taking place, start keeping track of the abundance that's starting to happen in your business, and focus on gratitude. Such an important thing. Gratitude is so important. I got it tattooed on my wrist to remind me that gratitude is riches and complaints are poverty. Do a little inventory on your business right now. Are you struggling? Well, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the complaints? Or are you having gratitude for the things that are working in your business? Because there is success happening. Maybe not as much as you want right now, but that's why people engage coaches. Because we've got the ability to give you a different perspective that might get you and should get you to that next level in your business. Thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate you being here. Like I said, click on the link if you have any questions. Anything that you'd like to add, Roger? Okay, great. Have a great day.